And there are two questions. One is that the City University of New York has the responsibility and even the fiduciary responsibility to guide and direct the use of all of these funds. So they sometimes will make decisions that they know what we should use your money for better than we know. And so they may choose to direct certain choices about use of the money. So I could tell you that I think that there's no question we need people in grad services, grad career management, admissions, student support. We need all of those things. I could tell you that I believe we need more graduate assistants because over the course of the last 4 years, that's been one of the remarkable budget cuts. And it does two things. It reduces the number of talented people we have helping us administratively and in faculty activity of various kinds. And it also means that students who would like to be able to work 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week to raise some money to support themselves don't have that ability. So from my perspective, it would be valuable to increase the budget for grad assistants. These are all things that I will inform the student body of as soon as I know what our flexibility is. What can we do?
Can I go step back a little bit? You mentioned that it sounds like CUNY feels or has a fiduciary responsibility to decide how the money is allocated. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this academic fee is graduate only, Baruch only. So I don't misunderstand. It sounds like what you're saying that some of the money could be going back up to CUNY to plug holes elsewhere else in the CUNY system.
That's not what I expect. But what I have seen in the past is CUNY saying the right way to use this money is for this purpose at Baruch rather than that purpose at Baruch. So for example, in our state budget that we get to run the college, we get a given amount of money to spend. And one budgeting strategy that one could use would be to say the leadership of the college at Baruch knows what the needs are and should allocate those monies to meet the needs of the student population. Another policy could be that the City University of New York would say that for the good of the City University of New York and to meet our responsibilities to the state legislature, we think that you need more faculty, and we think you need more faculty of this type. So they might give us a directive that says you have to do this with some of the money that is in your budget. Mm-hmm. So it's a question of how much flexibility do you have in making your choices. And it's for that reason that I can't yet tell you, but expect to be able to tell you in a month's time exactly where these dollars are going to be put to use.
Here's a little bit. I solicited my fellow students to try and get some comments. One of the ones that came up was, this goes back to the communication, but follow me just for a minute. It says, I was blindsided by this fee. It
Yes.
came up unexpected. Looks like they're going to have to drop. So the question that this morphed into, what financial aid, forgiveness, delays, the CUNY resolution does mention that financial aid will be made available. Can you discuss a little bit what avenues, since this is so last minute as an emergency basis,
Right.
some of the students can take?
Some of those things are still being worked out. I'm not fully briefed on every piece of it. What I know is that there are people working on a full-out basis to be sure that the information is available to students about whatever alternatives there are. More importantly, it would typically be the case that we would have been dropping students from registration weeks ago if they had not paid. We've delayed all of those actions because we're very conscious of the fact that this was a very time-sensitive and very late set of communications. Mm-hmm. So those things are, I wouldn't say completely worked out yet, but they're in process.
Right. Some of the questions that we had, I think, kind of stem from maybe the name choice, because when you start the academic excellence, the first question comes as well, is the academics missing? So, but I think what you talked about earlier was that is to address and to bring everybody up to the same,
yes.
to a higher level. If we can discuss a little bit, you talked about some conversations that will be taking place. Can you, because you don't know how this money is going to be used exactly.
Not exactly.
Can you talk about what these conversations are going to look like, how they be
Sure.
announced to the
Frank Fletcher and I have talked about the fact that there need to be a number of vehicles. So this opportunity with you is a very good example of one of many pathways that we might take. We've, in the past, on various occasions, just had an open forum. So we can find a room, book it at 5 o'clock, book it at 7:30. Often we've done this multiple times for multiple audiences so that the students who are evening Monday, Wednesday, evening Tuesday, Thursday, weekend, whatever it might be, have access to the opportunity to have the conversation without extraordinary hardship. So my plan would be to have it happen fairly often. Certainly meeting with the GASA is a very appropriate pathway. They have regular meetings. It's easy for me and for Frank Fletcher to go and talk with them and listen to them and share the information that we have.
Okay. Do you have a time frame on when your suggestions will be sent up to the CUNY board?
The CUNY board doesn't have to say yes. Okay. All I'm worried about is that the CUNY board will choose to put some boundaries around choices. So if they don't make that choice, if they just say these are resources available to use to improve the lives of our students, then you start posting jobs and hiring immediately, you start making decisions about allocations to GAs immediately, and those things can start to take effect.
Going forward, when you're looking at this plan and you're rolling things out, as a frank question, how do you know you're successful? What metrics are you going to use? How will you know that this fee has accomplished what you've intended it to?
Well, there are a couple of things. One thing that we monitor all the time is the usage of the Graduate Career Management Center, wait times to get access to a professional counselor, and we know that neither of those numbers is at a satisfactory metric right now. So we'll watch those kinds of things. We'll watch wait times for services. We'll watch numbers and percentages of students served, and those will tell us things. We also will listen to recruiters. Some people who are taking programs on a part-time basis as working professionals only want to improve the service they provide to their current employer. Other people are really looking to change the game for them as a professional, looking to move to a different or higher level of employment. And one of the questions is, are they successful? So we will monitor that. How many people are using the Grad Career Management Center? What kinds of changes and opportunities are we seeing them develop? And I have to say that we listen carefully to the recruiting public. And when a recruiter has been here, we will often debrief them. What did you think of the students that you interviewed with today? And if we find that they say, you know, these resumes were poor, and the student didn't interview nearly as well as I would have expected, and then we go back and we find out that this student hadn't worked closely with the graduate career management professionals, and in contrast that the students who were getting called back for second interviews had, that tells us that we're getting positive contributions to the potential of our students from the hard work of the career management professionals. So my belief about the success of this program will be all of these metrics will improve, and we watch all of them.